How we doing today, YouTube? Deeski from Grillz here, back with another cooking video. And this time we will be doing baby back ribs. The plan today, well this evening, is to get these ribs prepped and ready for the cooker tomorrow morning. I'm going to start bright and early, maybe 6, 7 in the morning, and plan on this cook being about 6 hours long. I'm going to do what they pretty much call the 3-2-1 method. And all that is getting some smoke on those ribs for the first 3 hours, wrapping the ribs for the next 2 hours, and the last hour I take them out, let them kind of firm back up. They would have already been moist and everything will be tender inside. That last 15-20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, we'll sauce them up on both sides and get that sauce to glaze over on the ribs. So looking forward to it. What we have here is just regular pork baby back ribs. Again, I have 4 slabs, 2 on the cutting board that you can see right here. And the plan is to maybe keep 2 slabs at home and take 2 slabs to work. I've been promising some people at work that I would bring some ribs. So hey, looking forward to doing this cook. I will take you step by step on what you need to do to make the perfect baby back ribs. You're gonna love this. As you can see, what I have here, some of the ingredients I will be using will be the barbecue rub. But what I'm going to do for tonight, I'll show you next, is apply a little bit of the AP rub on the ribs. Then I'm going to put them on a cooking sheet, wrap them in cellophane or plastic saran wrap, stick them in the refrigerator overnight, about 8 to 10 hours. Then we'll hit it back with the barbecue rub before they go on the grill. So that's the plan. We'll get these things going, let you see the next steps, which will be the seasoning, and we'll go from there. Hope you enjoy the cook, and thanks for joining Deeski Grillz again. Let's get cooking. Okay, YouTube, let's prep the ribs. So as you can see, I'm washing these ribs thoroughly on each side just to make sure they're clean. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use a knife and get up under the meat and that silver skin and remove it. So you see me pulling off that silver skin, and with the silver skin, it does no good for nothing. Smoke can't penetrate. It doesn't need to be there. So you take the time and prep these the right way, then you just you get a better product at the end. So what I'm also doing is trimming up the ribs and taking off any sharp edges so they cook better. And when you wrap them, you don't poke holes in them with foil. So next thing you see me doing is adding mustard to both sides and the AP rub. So remember, the AP rub is an all-purpose rub and it's actually salt, pepper, and garlic. So I'm doing that. Mustard on each side, AP rub on each side. Now I'm going to wrap it with the saran wrap. Okay, I got the cutting board clean, everything put in the refrigerator. So let's meet up tomorrow morning. Everybody have a good evening, and we'll take it back to the cutting board, get our final seasoning on the ribs, go out and get the grill prepared, and we can get started on making the perfect ribs. You guys have a good night. We'll get back together in the morning. Good morning, YouTube. We're back at you. Around 7 o'clock this morning, the ribs have been in the refrigerator for roughly 10 hours, and I want to show you how we're looking right now. Now, if you remember last night, I used mustard on these ribs. Well, first thing we did, we removed the membrane from the back, okay? So that was no more than taking the tough skin that's on the back of ribs, cutting that off and pulling it off with your hands. A lot of people use a paper towel. Pull that off and get that off of there. Smoke will not absorb through your ribs, and this is just tough skin that does no good for your ribs. So I took that off. Next, we trimmed them up, tried to trim them up the best we could to kind of square them up a little. Okay, so we did that as well. After that, we added a mustard binder to both sides, and all I did was hit them with the AP rub. Now again, the AP rub is a mixture of salt, pepper, and garlic. That's what we did. We put that on, wrapped them in the saran wrap, and put them in the refrigerator. So that's where we're at. Next step we're going to do now is actually hit them with the rub that we're going to use, which is the barbecue rub, and then we're going to get them on the grill. So looking forward to it. You remember, we're going to shoot for the 3-2-1 method again. Again, the 3-2-1 method is 3 hours of smoke, 2 hours wrapped, and 1 hour to come out and pretty much baste and let them get more firmed back up. So that's what we're going after. Thanks for joining me again this morning. We can hit to the cutting board now, and let me show you the rub we'll be using. Okay, YouTube, it's seasoning time. We're simply going to season both sides of the ribs with the barbecue rub, then let them sit on the cutting board until we get the grill up to temperature. Okay, YouTube, let's set up the grill for some hickory smoke. What you see is a gap in the middle right there where I'm pointing, and that's where our hot coals will go for the minion method. So we'll pour 12 coals in there, and once they're hot, they'll spread out. I'm showing you also the 4 chunks of hickory we're going to use that will, low and slow, start smoking the meat. So what I want to show you now, we're going to go out and get our chimney fired up. And once we get our chimney fired up, it'll take about 15 minutes at best for those 12 to 15 coals to ash over, and we will pour those dead in the center of that hole. So I think now we should go back in the kitchen and see how our ribs are doing. They're resting on the cutting board, and I bet you that seasoning has glazed over really, really well. So why don't we do that while we wait for these coals to get ready? Okay, YouTube, it's all about building layers of flavor. As you can see, these ribs have been sitting on the cutting board for about 15 minutes, and the barbecue rub that we added is soaking in just wonderfully. So when you're talking about building layers of flavor, it started last night with the AP rub, and we put it in the refrigerator for about 8 to 10 hours, and now the barbecue rub is setting while we get our grill ready. They almost look like they're done, but you got 6 more hours to go. So hey, let's go check on the grill. Okay, YouTube, the grill is almost ready. So, our coals that we had in our chimney have been ashed over. They are ready to be poured in. So, what you'll see me doing next is pouring the coals right into that open hole that I showed you earlier so we can get this minion method started. So, this is definitely one of the best ways on the Weber Summit to set up your low and slow. Those hot coals will start reaching the coals that are not ignited. Slowly but surely, you'll get a low and slow cook that you can regulate. So now I'm adding the diffuser plate, and the diffuser plate, of course, is in place to make sure you don't have any direct heat on your ribs. Another wonderful addition to the Weber Summit that allows you to cook without worrying about burning your food. So what I'm going to do now is add my grill grate. And the biggest thing from now is going to be to let it get up to temperature. So I'm closing it up and letting it get up to temperature. 225 is what we're shooting for. Okay, YouTube, let me show you one of my barbecue toys. What you see the ribs sitting in is called the Weber Rib Rack. Now, with this rack, you're able to cook up to 5 slabs of ribs. So what this allows you to do is set the ribs in vertically, which gives you more capacity to add 5 slabs of ribs, where in some other case, you may only be able to get 3 if you're doing them horizontally. So let's go check on the grill. We should be close to 200 degrees right now, and I'll discuss some things there. So as you can see, the grill right now is about 190 degrees. I'm closing the damper, and I want it to be about a quarter of the way open. And what we'll do now is open it up and add our ribs. So there's our ribs. They're being added to the grill. We'll close it up and check back in on them in about 3 hours. Okay, YouTube, I wanted to discuss the amazing temp control of the Weber Summit Charcoal Grill. As you can see, the grill is right at 200 degrees. Now we are at 3 hours into this cook, and it has literally stayed right there for 3 hours with no adjustments on my end at all. And what that shows you is just the sheer awesome insulation that this grill offers. So when you set up a low and slow and you dial in your temperatures, it's almost a set it and forget it type function from there on. So what we're going to do now is take the ribs off the grill, and I'm going to show you how we're going to wrap them. So the 3 is done, we're going to do the 2, and then we'll do the 1. Okay, YouTube, let's wrap the ribs. So what you see me doing now is the second part of our 3-2-1. So the 3 was actually putting the smoke on the ribs for 3 hours. The 2 is wrapping the ribs. And then we'll talk about the 1 when we get to that point. So what I'm doing now is actually adding a mixture of parquet spread butter, honey, and from there, cherry Dr. Pepper, about a quarter of a cup to each of these slabs, wrapping them really, really well. And from there, we'll take them out and put them back on the grill. So again, they'll go on the grill after getting this mixture put in them for 2 hours. After that 2 hour period, we will do the last portion, which will be the one, and that will be taking them out of the foil, letting them firm up, and towards the last 15-20 minutes, we'll start the basting process. Okay, YouTube, so we're at the next steps for awesome ribs. So now these ribs have been wrapped. They will sit on the grill now for 2 hours. And after that 2 hour period, we will take them off the grill, unwrap them, and then let them go for 1 more hour. So that's where we're at now. Okay, YouTube, 1 hour to go. So now we're at the last part of our 3-2-1 method. We've had the ribs wrapped for 2 hours. Now we're going to take them off, remove the foil, add them back to the grill for the final hour. So what you're going to see next is the ribs on the grill about 30 minutes to being completed. And at that point, we'll start saucing them up. Okay, YouTube, let's sauce them up. As you can see now, I'm adding the sauce. It's been 30 minutes since our last check-in, and this is the last 1 hour portion of our 3-2-1. So what I did already is I sauced up the back end of the ribs, so the bottoms have already been sauced. I let those go for 15 minutes. What we're going to do here is let the top of the ribs go for 15 minutes. Next thing you'll see is us at the cutting board checking out our finished results. I'll see you there. Okay, YouTube, let's check out the final results of our hickory smoked baby back ribs. As you can see, these ribs came out amazing. So here's the thing. First off, look how the bones have pulled away from the meat. Low and slow is the only way to go. And as I grab these ribs, you see they bend in the middle. That alone lets you know that they are very, very tender. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut them and let you see how tender the ribs are. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, YouTube, so I've just cut the ribs and check out how good they look. The glaze looks awesome on there, and now I'm going to show you the tenderness. They just pull away from the bone. That's what you want. This is not only showing the effectiveness of the Weber Summit Charcoal Grill, but also how awesome the 3-2-1 method is. So, hey, as always, thank you for joining me. And if you like what we're doing, please subscribe to my channel. And remember, at Grillz, grilling isn't a pastime, it's a passion. Hey, remember to hit that bell notification when you subscribe so you can get more videos like this. Enjoy the rest of your day, YouTube.